Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I'm going to review the Diatone 2018 GT-M3 quadcopter, which might be the best 3-inch quadcopter of this year and take the place of my favorite one so far, which is the H0C XJB-145, or maybe I should actually call it the VX145. There is a big debate about this frame going on, but anyway, this is my favorite, and today in this video I'm going to see if the Diatone is going to take its place. This quadcopter is available in 3 versions. The one I've got is the one with the stretched X design. It's also available with a true X and also with a plus frame. Inside the box we get in the quadcopter itself, a set of stickers, and we also get in some accessories on the bottom, which are one set of Gemfan flash propellers, which are my favorite 3-inch propellers, so it's good that they included it. But you only get in one set, so I recommend to order some spare propellers. In addition, we get in this bag of accessories, which includes a capacitor, zip ties, an anti-slip sticker for the battery. You also get in inside a spare XT30 connector, and also these velcros, which I don't really like, and I highly recommend for you to try these ones from FPV Model. These are the best I've used so far with 3-inch quadcopters. They are going to make sure that the battery is going to stay in place, and they are pretty cheap, so I recommend to give them a try. The quadcopter itself features these motors that are labeled with the Diatone brand, but these are actually Sunny Sky Edge Racing 1408 4000 kV motors. The camera in the front is the Diatone Sniper camera. It's a 600 TV line CCD camera. I've already tested it with the Tomoquad's 2-inch quadcopter before upgrading it to the Runcam Split Mini. I think it did quite alright, and it performs very similarly to the Runcam Micro Swift one. In addition, on the bottom we can find a 20A 4-in-1 BLLES ESC controller, on the center an F4 flight controller, and on the top a TBS Unify V3 VTX that supports up to 800 mW output strength, which is the highest output strength I've seen so far on a ready-to-fly 3-inch quadcopter. On the back we can find an XT30 connector, which is connected to a current sensor. Somehow Diatone decided not to integrate on the flight controller, so it is located on the bottom of the XT30 connector. This is a plug-and-play model, which means you will have to provide your own receiver. It already comes with this connector, which is soldered to the S-bus plus 5 volts and the ground pads. And if you want to use a PPM or DSMX receiver, you will have to use the other pads. Over here we have the PPM, and over here the plus 3.3 volts. This is a very delicate board, so I recommend to be very careful when desoldering these pads. You don't want to short anything out. It's pretty expensive. I think it's sold separately for about 40 bucks, so I recommend to be careful. The weight of the quadcopter, including the propellers, is 131.3 grams, so it's almost the same weight of the XJB-145, which weighs 134.2 grams, but including the receiver and also the nuts for the motors, so they are basically the same weight. The thickness of the bottom plate is about 2.8 millimeters, and the distance between motor to motor is about 145 millimeters. So basically you can see it has almost the same footprints of the XJB-145, which also uses an X stretched frame. The side plates of the quadcopter are made of aluminum. You can see that this side is the better looking side of the quadcopter, but still the motor wires are a little bit too long. But over here it's a complete mess. You can see what's going on here, and it's pretty surprising for a quadcopter that cost almost $200 not to do some better work and trim the wires and make sure this side is not going to be exposed. I actually recommend you, after configuring the quadcopter and making sure that everything is okay, to put something on the side of the quadcopter like that, just to make sure nothing is going to get in touch with it. It's not the best looking solution, and maybe printing a guard for this part is going to be better, but I think that putting something like that is going to do the work as well. Again, the components are pretty expensive, and also the TBS transmitter is not cheap, so you don't want to ruin this stack, so protecting it is going to save you a couple of bucks. In addition, I recommend you to use a zip tie in order to secure the XT30 connector. This is going to make sure that in case that the battery is going to be pulled out, the pads of the battery are not going to be destroyed. And you can see that if right now I'm pulling this end, I don't want to pull too hard, but still it's not going to be pulled from the flight controller itself. This actually should be a pretty standard thing, and I'm pretty surprised that Diatone didn't place this zip tie when shipping this quadcopter. Configuring the VTX is done through this button over here, or actually the better way is to use TBS Smart Audio. All the necessary connectors are already wired and it's already configured on Butterflight, so they make your life very easy. All you have to do if you want to change the band and channel and also set the output strength is to configure it through Butterflight OSD, and it's pretty simple. If you want to unlock this VTX and configure it to an output strength of 200, 500 or 800 milliwatts, you will have to do the following step. First of all, power on the quadcopter. Then enter the setup mode by pressing this button for 3 seconds. Then this LED indicator is going to flash once. Then do the same process again to enter band selection mode. It's going to flash twice. It didn't work, so let's do it again. Now it flashed twice. And now you have to press this button for 25 seconds until the red LED indicator is going to flash 3 times, which will indicate that the VTX has been unlocked. Now it flashed 3 times and now we have an unlocked VTX. The next thing I'm going to do is to add an FrSky RXSR receiver. Then I'm going to go over Butterflight configuration, take it for a test flight using these batteries from CNHL and Tattoo. These look like pretty hungry motors, so I think at least 650 mAh 4S battery is going to be needed if you want to fly this quadcopter for more than a minute. I'm also going to try to see how it's going to perform with my Runcam 3, and I'll see you in the end of this video in order to give you my conclusion. So as you could see, even after flashing it with Butterflight and applying the suggested settings by Diatone, this quadcopter still didn't fly correctly, and I eventually crashed it. And you can see that this part is bent, and the VTX after this crash stopped working, and I found out that the channel button of the VTX was stuck. So after removing it, now this VTX is functioning again. So if it happens to you, either try to release the button or simply remove it, and then you can adjust the VTX settings just by the smart audio. Another issue that I had is with the VTX antenna. As you could see in the last couple of flight footages, is that the video was glitching, and I think the reason for that is that the antenna was cut, and I highly recommend you to relocate it to the center of the quadcopter where it's going to be more protected. So overall, I think that the Diatone GT-M3 quadcopter has a couple of nice features. It's very fast, it uses very high quality components beside the camera, which is not that great, and you could easily turn it into a long range 3-inch quadcopter by replacing this antenna with a better one, and also using a TBS Crossfire Nano RX receiver, for example. It does suffer from a couple of issues. First of all, it doesn't come pre-tuned. The motors are also very power hungry, and I could get only about 2.5 minutes of flight time using a 4S 850mAh force battery. And finally, it's a bit pricey. It costs about $185, whereas you could get at the moment the XJB-145 only at around $150, and I think it was on sale also for $135. So considering everything, I think that the XJB-145 will give you a better value for money. It might not be as fast as the GT-M3 quadcopter, but I don't think that the top speed is that important, and getting more flight time and paying less will probably compensate for that. So overall, I thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and you find it useful. If you have any questions about this quadcopter, feel free to ask it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already subscribed. See you in my next videos, and goodbye.